If Avengers Endgame doesn't get here soon, it might be the end of us all. For every day it draws closer, the hours until its release seem even longer. It's almost like Doctor Strange is using the Time Stone to mess with us. Actually, it's probably Thanos. Stephen Strange isn't nearly this cruel. He may have given us some clues about how Avengers Endgame will play out, though. There are a good number of clues and hints in the Doctor Strange movie that might explain the Sorcerer Supreme's actions in Avengers Infinity War. Once we get that pinned down, we can make some educated guesses about how Endgame will play out. Put on your sling ring and sentient cloak, because this video is going through the psychedelic experience that is the Doctor Strange movie to figure out what'll happen in Avengers Endgame. It's pretty wild that Doctor Strange let himself get dusted in Avengers Infinity War, right? Doctor Strange has more experience dealing with cosmic-level threats than maybe any of the other Marvel heroes. Maybe the Guardians outrank him because they took down Ego, but that's a subject for a different video. In his own movie, Doctor Strange faced off against Dormammu, the ruler of the Dark Dimension. He's an interdimensional entity that's as old as time and the destroyer of worlds. He is immortal and can manipulate the entirety of the Dark Dimension, meaning that if he brought the realm to Earth, he could shape the planet however he wanted to. That's kind of a step up from the jacked, skull-faced guy Captain America fought in his own movie, the obsolete sci-fi armor Iron Man fought in his own first movie, and the robot the Wonder Twins of the Avengers fought in the Age of Ultron. The point is, Doctor Strange could have easily avoided handing over the Time Stone to Thanos. Sure, Thanos literally held Tony Stark's life in his hands, but Doctor Strange could have trapped him, Thanos, and Tony in a time loop like he did against Dormammu. Granted, the Mad Titan probably wouldn't have given in as easily as Dormammu did, but our heroes might have been able to make him rethink his plan if given an unlimited amount of time. Alternatively, he could have rewound time and our heroes could have replayed the fight. On the second lap, they'd know to watch out for falling moons, and Star-Lord could try not to ruin their whole plan as they're moments away from victory. Then again, who among us didn't want to punch Thanos in the schnoz after he sacrificed Gamora so he could get the Soul Stone? Prior to his group's confrontation with the Mad Titan, the Sorcerer Supreme looked into more than 14 million possible futures to find a series of events that would result in Thanos' defeat. He confirmed that he found one possible future where they emerge victorious, so it's fair to say that his own demise is a part of his master plan. Things might not be that cut and dry, though. In the Doctor Strange movie, we learn quite a bit about the mystical side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Most of this information comes from the Masters of the Mystical Arts, an order of sorcerers that protect the Earth, and occasionally the universe from paranormal and extra-dimensional threats. Leading the order is the Ancient One, the Sorcerer Supreme at the beginning and keeper of the Eye of Agamotto, another name for the Time Stone. We learn that she used the Time Stone for centuries to prevent unspeakable tragedies and keep the world safe. Using the ability to see into an infinite number of possible timelines, she steered towards the best possible series of events. However, we also learn that she is unable to see past her own demise.
Looking at this exact moment, but I can't see past it.
No matter her actions, she was fated to perish in the film, and she had to entrust the task of defeating Dormammu to Stephen Strange. During her final moments, she gives him the parting wisdom he needs to stop focusing so much on his own well-being and consider what's best for others and the world.
It's not about you.
This contextualizes many of Doctor Strange's actions in Avengers Infinity War and gives us an idea of how things will play out in Endgame. The many different futures the Sorcerer Supreme peered into likely involved him trying different tactics to defeat or escape Thanos. He was the one to coordinate the fight on Titan after all. However, he saw that any timeline where he survived would only end in Thanos' ultimate victory. So he allowed himself to perish in order to create a timeline he can't see and give the remaining heroes a chance at defeating Thanos and restoring half of all life in the universe.
There was no other way.
So he planned their biggest loss in order to win the war, or at least lose the battle to have a chance at winning the war. This is a pretty impressive moment for Doctor Strange personally, because learning to get over himself was the whole point of his own movie. Doctor Strange endured unspeakable pain and torment for an almost endless amount of time so people who didn't even know him could live happily. His actions in Avengers Infinity War are an even bigger commitment to embracing those ideals. Rather than spend an almost endless amount of time running away from Thanos and letting the Mad Titan tear the universe to shreds in the process, he willingly perishes so there's a chance the universe is saved. Doctor Strange's continued character growth in this moment is some of the most genuinely terrific writing that proves there's more to Marvel movies than some cool costumes and expensive action sequences. Of course, considering Doctor Strange's cautious and calculating personality, it's far more likely that his trust in the surviving Marvel heroes was more of an educated guess than a complete gamble. There are two major theories right now about how the Avengers will defeat Thanos and restore the universe to its complete state. One involves traveling to different dimensions, and the other centers on time travel. If the latter does not prove true, then Doctor Strange should be aware of it thanks to his mastery of the Time Stone. In the Doctor Strange movie, we see the Sorcerer Supreme develop an almost total mastery of the Time Stone and easily command its many abilities. After studying the Eye of Agamotto in the Book of Cagliostro, Doctor Strange begins to experiment with the artifact. We see him using the stone to restore an apple to different states of its existence and see the missing pages of the book he's studying. He can push the abilities of the Time Stone even further though, and uses it to restore the Hong Kong Sanctum to its complete state while also making sure he and his fellow sorcerers are unaffected by the time manipulation. He was also able to use the Time Stone to create a time loop to defeat Dormammu and save Earth. Even if he can only use the Time Stone to see one set of possible outcomes at a time and can't follow his own future beyond his own demise, what if he used the Time Stone to look at past events? This could even be much easier since those events can't change like possible future happenings. That is, unless people were going back in time and changing those events. If the Avengers do use the Quantum Realm to travel through time and gather up their own set of Infinity Stones, Doctor Strange would be the only one person aware of that development. Even if the Time Stone can only affect a single person or place at a time, Doctor Strange could still use it to see his own past and witness one of the Avengers taking the Time Stone from him. That will more likely be Thor, by the way, since the two hung out briefly during the events of Thor Ragnarok. Knowing that the Avengers have a pretty good plan of taking down Thanos and restoring the universe, it would have to be good enough to convince Doctor Strange to let Thanos take the Time Stone. It would also explain Doctor Strange's cryptic line of the snap being the only outcome he saw that had a chance of success. Then again, he may play more of an active role in the events of Endgame than we've been led to believe. In a pre-Infinity War interview, Tom Holland, the actor who plays Spider-Man, he reveals that Doctor Strange talks at length about the Quantum Realm in the movie. That's not actually in the movie though, and since Infinity War and Endgame were filmed back-to-back, this has led many to believe that Doctor Strange will be a central character in Avengers Endgame. The Doctor Strange movie again gives us some hints as how this might happen. While in astral form, it's pretty easy for Doctor Strange and other characters with mystical powers to dilate time, as seen when he and the Ancient One have their final conversation in a single moment drawn out into minutes.
Time is relative. Your body hasn't even hit the floor yet.
Once he realizes something funky is up with the timeline, he can use this ability to inform the time-traveling Avengers about the nature of the Quantum Realm. Or maybe he even plays an active role in the film by utilizing his astral form. While he's having an out-of-body experience, he isn't bound by a lot of the rules that govern the rest of reality. This could let him move through previous point in time and potentially even travel through it with the other heroes. Since his actual body is anchored to a point in time prior to the snap, this would also grant his astral body as much time as he needed to help the surviving heroes. Okay, that last theory might be getting into galaxy brain territory, but you gotta think big when you're dealing with the Quantum Realm after all. It's all but guaranteed that Doctor Strange wasn't just giving up in Avengers Infinity War. The Sorcerer Supreme is way too tenacious and cunning to go out that way. We know that the Time Stone only lets a person affect the time of a specific object or place, meaning that Doctor Strange was only able to peer into future events that involved him still being alive. He chose to perish in the snap because it presented a series of events that he couldn't see and therefore had a chance of Thanos being defeated. If time travel is key to restoring the universe though, then Doctor Strange would be the only character aware of this development. Using the Time Stone, he could see past events changing as the surviving Avengers gather their own Infinity Stones from across time. Using his astral projection abilities, Doctor Strange may even be able to aid the time-traveling Avengers in their journey, as in this form he isn't bound by the normal progression of time. Speaking of time, we're now about 10 minutes closer to the release of Avengers Endgame. It might not be much, but at least now we're a bit closer to seeing if this theory proves true. We'd love to hear what you think of this theory and any other guesses you might have for how Avengers Endgame will play out. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, let us know by hitting the thumbs up button. Also, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can catch our new videos as they come out.